What's up, gang? So today I'm here with Penny and I got some newspapers here from yesterday and this morning, and I want to go through some of it in terms of kind of looking at the journalism and the news with different things that I'm correlating in my channel under a playlist called Reset. Everyone hears about the Great Reset and stuff, and I also want to touch on a few things in regards to the stock market and go in that direction a little bit on my channel as well. I got a calendar over there talking about a few catalysts that will affect the stock market. So really quick, I have a calendar here where I'm starting to put out catalysts that will affect the stock market, and those are being after Thanksgiving, 2 to 3 weeks after that, we could see a surge in cases, and that could potentially bring down the market. What's interesting is that the market seems so inflated right now that even though we're hitting record high cases and all that, it's not really affecting the market. So another thing that we want to pay attention to is the earliest the FDA can approve a vaccine as of late would be December 8th or December 9th. And if they do approve it, 24 hours after that approval will be when they do a mass distribution of it. So that's something else to pay attention to. And on the 11th, we'll find out when the government, if the government will shut down, which will affect the markets. And on the 14th, you have the electoral college votes. And basically, if it's not Biden, the stock market will react greatly and shoot straight down. So 14th is another day we have to pay attention to. And over here on the 19th, we'll find out if they do decide on a stimulus. And I suspect Square to shoot right up if they do. But a couple things that I want to talk about are in the newspapers. And I just think that if you are getting new into the stock market and stuff, you want to pay attention to certain days that can fluctuate the market, especially if you're trading options, because you want to get out or get in before or after these particular days. Okay, so we're back in the closet. I feel like the audio quality is also better in my closet because of all like the clothes from the sound waves. And this is going to be like a longer video and a chit chat. I would do a live, but I was demonetized heavily and flagged on this channel, so I'm not able to do lives right now. And I would love to, because then we can all talk together. So I got some papers here, and I have a ton of them, but I just wanted to go over some of the things to pay attention to in regards to stocks, in regards to what's going on right now, and how they're all interconnected, and how these will correlate to a lot of my upcoming videos that I will be releasing. So I was going to do it with Penny, but she left me, so I'm just going to go back here in my closet. So if you guys haven't seen my Patreon video, it's going to be released here on this main channel tomorrow. Those who have my Patreon get the first look at the issues at hand. And I talked about our new wave, our new narrative, our new crisis we'll all be facing. And that has to do with cybersecurity and digitalization and the digital crisis. And I talked in that video about how we are constantly getting pumped with predictive programming. And we're seeing these words common in the media and common in the tabloids and articles, and how they are putting that thought, that idea, that process in our heads. And a lot of people don't even realize it. On the front page of Wall Street Journal, it actually has it too, which just confirms my theory with that. And it specifically says that there is a giant lack of government cybersecurity support, more and more predictive programming. Something else that I saw that was interesting was that I talk in my Reset series about the agricultural reset and the food reset, which I don't see really anyone talking about, and I keep promoting to support the farmers and farming, because we're seeing a lot in the articles for well over a year now, but it's even more of a pressing issue during these times, and how our food itself is changing. Gene editing, lab created, food made out of thin air, upcycled food. I detail all of this in an upcoming video, so if you're interested in that, it will be coming very soon. In my food shortage video, if you guys haven't seen it, there was a tabletop exercise similar to Event 201 where it's called a food chain reaction game, and it kind of displayed the food shortage, or like the Holodomor. The food chain reaction game ends in a carbon tax, so we're seeing that often. It says right here too. And what we're also seeing, but the stock market isn't fluctuating on it, is a record high of cases. And the stock market isn't responding to that, but it's responding very well to these vaccine companies, Pfizer, Moderna, and all these others who are claiming to have a 90% effective vaccine. So as I mentioned before, December 8th, December 9th, December 8th, so far being the earliest that the FDA could approve such a vaccine. 24 hours after the possible approval is when the vaccine will get widely distributed. And if that is the case, the stock market will fluctuate. What's interesting is that the stock market is so inflated right now and it's not fluctuating on the cases. It leads me to believe that it is so inflated that I do suspect everything to go down towards the end of December for sure. Unless there's maybe a possible stimulus, but still, even with that being said, I do suspect it going down. And I have a lot of reasons to, I mean, it literally has to. It has to. And the interest rates are going to stay extremely low because that's the only way that we can survive in this economic footing. That's why I talk about the cybersecurity crisis, the new narrative, is because it is backed heavily. The tabletop exercise, Cyber Polygon, is backed heavily by financial groups such as JP Morgan and Bank of America and sectors of Amazon. And it's either going to be a complete wipeout of the power grid, which they're trying to digitalize even more, or the financial system, which they're pumping up. So everything is going up. So they're saying that there's this crisis coming. Jeremy Jurgens of the World Economic Forum came out during his speech and announced that the new crisis was coming, and it'll be even more economically devastating. It'll be coming more, it'll develop quicker than anything we've seen before, and it'll affect a more wide range of people than it ever did before, which is hard to top nowadays. And that's something I labeled out in that video. So if you haven't seen that video, it's coming out tomorrow. This one I'm uploading today. That video will be on tomorrow, but those who are on my Patreon have seen it already. I just have to spruce up some wording to get it on YT, and that should be that. I also highlighted some other things in here. I know I did. And we're also, what's interesting is we're also seeing Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae try to get out of government control before President-elect Biden kind of goes into office, if the electoral votes suggest that he really is our president. So that's something else to take a look at, especially with real estate market and all those other things, depending on where you're looking at in the stock market. That's something to pay attention to. And we're looking at here how in the digital crisis new narrative video, I label out a couple of things, and I particularly touch on the reset. I'm going to have an entire reset playlist on this channel, and it's talking essentially about how they are trying to recreate capitalism, including digitalizing everything, as well as in 2030 they want people to not own anything. This was something that trended, I believe, in 2015 on the World Economic Forum, where there was a title saying, "Own nothing and you will be so happy about it." So this and a catalyst that brought that in, there was actually a very old dated article that I label out in that video, is that during the lockdowns and during no stimulus and during all these forbearance and the ability to pay rent and stuff like that, if all of that closes, if all of that government assistance closes and stops, which Mnuchin clearly is stating that he doesn't want to be part of it, that there's no need for it, it'll cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. And that is how they begin the transition of Agenda 2030, not owning anything and being happy about it. And it'll get to the point eventually one day, probably not in this decade, but in further, I would think towards the end of 2030, mid 2030, would be not even owning simple things like a blender. Like, these things would be traded and rented out. And we could see the start to that is ridding people. Rent is higher. The housing market bubble is so inflated. Anyone who says it's not a bubble, it is so inflated. Prices are at an all-time high, an all-time 14-year high. And on top of that, there was a huge demand with very little supply. And soon, I suspect, towards mid to end 2021, we will see a huge supply and less demand, because people will not get, there will be the lockdowns, everything like that. People won't be able to basically bounce back. So not only will people not be able to rent, not only will the landlords suffer, and not only will homeowners suffer, there will be a drop in the housing market, a up in the supply. So if you are in good terms, that is the best time to buy, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for. So that's something to pay attention to as well in terms of the real estate market and the housing market. But another thing that I saw here was another predictive programming of the cybersecurity thing. It says standoff poses risk of hacking. We're seeing this term constantly, all the time. This is coming. This is predictive programming. We're seeing it all over the place. We're seeing it everywhere. On top of them wanting to stay digitalizing and increase the digitalization of everything. And I talk about buying books and things like that because one of the things that I mentioned in my videos is exactly how they want to digitalize companies, and the term they're using for this is corporate sustainable responsibility. And that term basically means in order to be sustainable, in order to respect and help with climate change. And I just want to be clear on climate change, which a video will be coming soon. There is a climate change. However, the climate change that they're referring to is a scapegoat term, an umbrella term to enact more order out of chaos, essentially. So that's why the cars, the energy cars like Tesla, Ford, everyone's competing with the best green car, essentially. And they're using the term climate change for other reasons, to enact more order out of chaos, more control, more rules, more regulations, and give pretty much every business a corporate sustainable responsibility. I know this is full of information, and I do suggest they're not all uploaded yet because I have an uploading schedule, so they will be. So definitely keep a lookout for all these videos that go into more detail, and there will be a reset playlist, because reset doesn't just mean economical terms. We're looking at food and agriculture, we're looking at capitalism, we're looking at the human paradigm, we're looking at everything. So right here, when I was just talking about the car and the climate change and stuff, this is a huge, I see this in the paper every day. The race is on. Electric vehicle challenges are becoming the biggest thing since Tesla, and everyone wants to come out with like the next big electrical car, and they want to convert to complete electrical cars. So Ford, you're seeing Ford jump in on it. China, Beijing, we're all seeing these cars come out. London, we're seeing big like buses come out, all electrical, and they're all fighting for the next kind of Tesla space. I believe Tesla's becoming part of the S&P 500. They should be becoming part of the S&P 500 within the next month. So that's something else to pay attention to, a good date that you should pay attention to if you are investing in Tesla. The stock should and that should significantly move the stock if they do in fact become part of the S&P 500, which they should. And electric cars are on the rise. We know the NIO stock is doing amazing, and that's something we're going to see more. But again, it's more digitalization. So they're even coming out with saying that they won't be selling gas cars, and they're actually limiting, for if you're a used car salesman or a car salesman, they're limiting the amount of cars they have on the lot, therefore to kind of portray that demand is high, but really they're doing that to up the prices of the cars so they get better sales. But they're starting to take back things like this, and everything is becoming digital, including books. And I constantly say that. And please look at my Haiti Trust video, the Fahrenheit 451 video. This is gonna stay. They're gonna try to keep everything digital. They're gonna try to create businesses a corporate sustainable responsibility, keep businesses digital. That's why you're seeing everyone work from home. So in terms of stock investing, I know Zoom went down quite a bit. I do believe Square to go up. I do believe Zoom to go up again. And I do believe Etsy and Pinterest, because they are very correlated with each other, I do suspect them to go up, especially during this holiday season. But even here it says the stay-at-home economy is here to stay. We're looking at the new normal. The World Economic Forum and the elites are not letting go of this term. And that's why I suspected Jeremy Jurgens of the World Economic Forum when he had said that there will be an even greater crisis ahead of us, and it will affect everyone economically, and it will affect everyone, period. We see digitalization of absolutely everything. As I mentioned before several months ago in my nerdy vlog, how how they are trying to get rid of even cash. We're seeing crypto go up, okay? Crazy things in the crypto world is going on, and it will continue. The digitalization is crazy, and when they get more and more people on board with this digitalization, which they will, because they're essentially forcing businesses to abide by these new regulations, these new corporate sustainable responsibilities, including farmers and agriculture and stuff like that. They're forcing them essentially, and if they want to stay in business, they have to abide by the new digitalization and new AI technologies and further it. So if there is a crisis, which they're clearly saying everyone's lacking cybersecurity, and one single little pinch of a hack could cause a huge, massive digital crisis among everybody, well, it doesn't make sense for them to keep digitalizing everything, does it? It all goes hand in hand. It cancels each other out. It doesn't make sense, but it makes a lot of sense. It's like a conundrum. I know I'm talking a lot on this, and again, I have several in-depth videos on each of these, and I will continue to put out these. Some will be Patreon only because some are just too intense to put on here, and some will be here, and then the others I try to give a first look to my Patreons because they really do help keep me going. It's incredibly hard right now, as I'm sure all of you know, but especially for content creators who touch on these things like investigative journalism like myself. Today is Monday the 23rd, so this video will be up later tonight. In terms of the farming and agricultural reset and stuff like that we're facing, something that I wanted to point out, and this was disturbing, says regulators look into shortage of containers. The ability, it says right here that shipping lines are impairing the ability of American farmers to reach foreign markets by holding back empty containers needed to export goods. We're seeing a lot of sabotage with the farming community. Hence the agricultural and food reset that I'm talking about in a further video, which you'll see this week. Patrons will see it first. But the it says right here, we saw earlier this year about incentives to get farmers to stop farming, literally paying farmers saying, hey, we'll give you more money if you actually stop farming. And we're seeing here that it's even sabotage of record number of cases where in very big farming towns we saw some weird weather, like the derecho in very big farming areas. We're seeing a lot of crazy stuff in Europe, including with pork and the swine. Now we're seeing a sabotage of shipping containers for American farmers, and they're looking into this. There seems to be a shortage of containers. So we're looking at a lot of things, and this all affects stocks. This all affects us. And my battery is about to die here. I know I've been kind of talking a lot, but this was just kind of a talk video. I would love to do a live. If you guys like these videos, I'll get better at them. I'm just kind of going through the paper and kind of saying what really needs to be heard. So just pay attention to all those things and really look at predictive programming and look with a discerning eye, and definitely pay attention to the trends and stuff and those important dates that I mentioned. If you are dabbling in the stock market, I plan to do more videos on it, either on my Patreon or my YouTube, because it's very interesting, and it's amazing how well you can do when you know facts like journalism, investigative journalism, seeing trends and what's really going on in front of you, but they say it in such an elusive way you can't really tell. So with that being said, I hope you guys like this kind of chit chat video on stuff going on. Maybe you listen to it while you drive or work out or shower or cook. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and share this on mainstream social media, because I cannot. I was taken from that privilege. And with that being said, stay tuned for the video coming out tomorrow on the new cyber crisis, new narrative video, and share it with all your friends and family, and be on the lookout. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.